pizza.
Okay, we're live.
Oh. You missed the best part of our conversation. Pizza.
Yeah.
Cammy's making pizza for all of us. Welcome back to Reborn TV and Art, whatever we call it. Art TV. It is a long day today for me. It's a long week in general. How is everybody doing?
Great. I'm tired.
Are you?
I am. Yes,
Are you
I'm
great?
really great. I'm
Are
really
you sure?
great. I woke up super early,
You
been making
questioned it.
tamales all day, so I apologize if I smell like garlic and chile ancho and
You smell like that? I smell like cut wood.
well.
I had to split some wood for.
Well, we could smell worse though.
Tonight,
That's
yeah.
not so bad.
That is true. I could have worked out before and then I took a shower.
You would have smelled like garlic too.
Oh,
probably.
easily. That is without a
Oh,
doubt
man.
probably accurate.
No,
Garlics
work
or onions.
when I work out, I smell like garlic. Yeah, it's,
I'm on the
nobody
all
works
garlic
near me.
diet, so I mean it's like exactly what you eat is you sweat out. So
Oh,
See, that's
yeah.
why I don't work out. Forget it. I don't want to smell like garlic.
Yeah. See, I can't. I work out in my own gym, so I don't. If there's any smell, I blame it on the dogs.
Oh yeah.
Because
Well, at
Charlie's
least
in
you
there.
have dogs. I don't have dogs to blame it on.
You got
you
a
blame it
kid.
on Vincent.
No, Jeremiah. Blame it on
Okay.
him. No one will believe it.
Exactly. How are you?
Good.
Good. Before we get everything kicked off and everything, I don't know if you've announced it or not, but I was gonna actually let you do it. Surprise! You weren't ready for this,
What?
but you're doing a new thing for the teens, aren't you?
What?
The video.
Oh, well, yeah, we
I was
started
gonna let
some,
you do
sorry.
a plug.
Well, we started
plug.
doing some
Are you gonna plug yet?
videos.
Are you gonna do
Sure,
it?
I'm doing it right now. Now, I'm doing it right now. So we started some new videos that we're going to do, kind of advertising our teen department. Wanted to invite everybody to come on out, but, you know, our teens are especially talented and eager to invite, so getting some funny videos and whatnot out. So hopefully you'll see them and share them.
I was doing that because I didn't want her to have a script like they were practicing on their video.
Oh my gosh. we did a video for hours, like a 20-second video
20-second video for 2
for
hours.
and then he tells me, oh yeah, you're gonna have to do that again.
So where can they catch these videos?
They will be on Instagram. Well, she might be better at that. See, she's the young one that's gonna be
Plug
able
it
to.
in.
Okay, so we haven't made the accounts yet, but once we have, I'll make a post on Facebook and Instagram that we're gonna have Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok.
There
Those
you
are
go.
three
Now, you did a
platforms
trial
we're gonna
run, or you think you're going to be able to fix the video issue, or
Oh, we're
Yeah,
gonna
well, we're gonna have to
do it again.
re-record.
no re-record? Well,
Yeah.
this is a test.
Now this time it won't take 2
Hopefully.
hours for a 20-second video.
Only take an hour and a
Yeah.
half this time.
Maybe. Well, I'm older, so it takes me a little bit to catch on. The younger
It's
ones know
the
how to do all
actors,
that. So
the actors are so deep. There's so many divas, right?
I mean, we had to park her trailer outside, and she demanded at least 3 different types of fruits that I don't even know where you can find them at, and I still haven't been able to place the order on it.
Well, listen, I'm still looking for my
This
stuff
contract
from
that she
starting
negotiated,
here.
there's
Exactly.
so many things that are on
We've
there that
actually
I'm like
started
wondering.
a new year, and I still haven't gotten my.
I'm gonna have to do an amendment on this
Yeah.
contract because there's some things on there that I just can't do.
Okay, well, we'll talk about that later.
I can't do flamingo dress Wednesday. Sorry.
Are you sure you're
Carmen
not
Miranda
Fridays?
Yeah, well, we'll get back to
But-
that. We'll see.
But no, thank y'all for coming in. I know I've been a little bit MIA in a couple episodes. I've been trying to work on some stuff in the background for this year, the new year, for both Reborn and on the Cocolazo side for Beyond the Break. So a lot of things that I'm hoping to start phase 2 on to shift and start releasing some new things. One of the cool ones I haven't got to talk to you about, so we're going to do it live.
Man.
Go.
I've actually got to partner up with a couple streamers and stuff that this March is SoCo, and they're having the first SoCo here in Dallas, Texas. It's the biggest soccer convention. It's leading up for the World Cup. So I'm going to get to meet a lot of these people, and there's going to be some players I'm going to have an opportunity to interview
That'd be cool.
at there. So it's going to be fun, and
You're
I'm
gonna
going
be
to try
out there with them, or they're coming in to studio.
and I'm going to be out there.
That's awesome.
So I got to figure out what equipment I got to take in a camera
Equipment.
person.
Oh, I was like, we'll
We'll talk about that after.
That's on your contract, though.
We'll talk about that later.
But no, a lot of cool, fun stuff that I'm really, really excited for that hopefully I can start trickling in here and there so y'all get to experience all this great stuff. But because I was excited for today's episodes, because I kind of dealt with some people who were venting to me about this a couple weeks ago, and it kind of planted that seed in my head. And that's something I think a lot of us truly do struggle in, is I have it labeled as winning the war in your mind.
Mm-hmm.
Because obviously the one thing that we're really good at is influencing ourselves out of things.
Mm-hmm.
Or for things. I mean, like, in both ways.
Yep.
Like, on a two-way road, you can take a left and a right. The way that you're having that thought process, you're easily able to persuade yourself into what you rather have. Mm-hmm. And I feel like that's a good talk, because one of the people that I was talking to and stuff, he's more battling inner demons and has had thoughts that, not bad thoughts, but thoughts of like how he feels like he's overwhelmed, he's tired, he's ready to kind of just give up and just start from scratch and stuff like that. He doesn't know how to put in the work. But I've also asked this person, what does he use tools wise, and if he believes and all this stuff. And first thing he said is, yeah, I believe, but I don't read the Bible. And I asked him following up, it was, do you go to church? Yeah, I go, but, I go during the holidays with my family and stuff. I'm like, okay, so CEO. And then finally I asked him, was like, how much do you really believe? And he goes, well, I know there's a little man in the sky. And I'm like, okay, so we're going to start from scratch here.
Yeah.
But I kind of wanted to target this because, we kind of all have those moments where it's like an internal struggle that we have to deal with, and we feel like we have to take this battle on pretty much on our own, which we kind of talked a little bit of a different perspective of it. But this is more, I'm thinking, like, how much can we use our mind to, like, shift our thought process into the correct thought process, a godlike process.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to go ahead and just...
You want to do 2 Corinthians 5:10?
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead and read that one, and then...
Well, I have the cliff notes on it, and as we take everything through captive, not everything thought is yours, some thoughts are attacking. I kind of just summarized my own notes on this. I didn't have the full verse, so I apologize.
I think it talks about bringing every thought and imagination into captivity, because one of the things that Scripture does is makes you accountable, right? And it's like, it's your job to bring, what are you supposed to do? And, he talks in I know Romans 12:2, be not conformed to this world, be transformed by the renewing of your mind. Well, that when a person gets saved, their mind is transformed. I'll give you a kind of a weird but very true example. You ever remember in James when it says a double-minded man is unstable in all of his ways? You realize an unsaved person cannot be double-minded because they don't have two minds. Only a saved person can be double-minded because we fight the old man and the new man. The unsaved person doesn't have the new man to fight. Now, they still have conscience, right? And then they have I know what I'm supposed to do, and the light turns green, I'm supposed to go. And they know what they're not supposed to do, generally speaking. But the double-mindedness is only for the believer, because only a believer has dealing with our old man thoughts and then the new man thoughts, which is Christ. So we fight those. So that's why he says, bring every thought and every imagination into captivity, because the old man will be, use terminology like, hey, that's not my job. I'm not my job to do that. They don't pay me to do that. New man says, you're a servant of Christ. You do what you're supposed. You do this, right? So the old man says, hey, listen, they pay other people to do that. I'm not doing that. The new man says, you do it, right? Because the new man is working to make you a servant. The old man tries to exalt you. It wants to exalt you, right? I'm number one, because the old man is working on the God the old man serves, which is self. So you have to fight self in that imagination to get back to, okay, I'm too good to do this thing. I'm above all that. The new man says, Jesus wasn't above it. He can do it. You can do it. See, he says it's a 180-degree flip of how we're supposed to be thinking. But what did we start with? We started with the old man thinking. So we've thought a long time about old man thinking, right? We've been doing old man thinking for a long time. So when you get the new man has some fighting to do to get past those old thoughts, right? Well, God helps those that help themselves. The new man goes, I can't help myself at all. I need God in all of it, right? So you see you see the dynamic that changes. That's why it's a transformation, right? Be not conformed, but transformed. What do I have to do? I have to take that old thinking that I've got, and our old thinking comes from our parents. I've told you guys this before. My parents tried to teach me. They tried to teach me. They tried to teach me what's right, but there were some things in Scripture that were wrong, and that they taught me. And so I could learn that there's something new. The transformation says here's what it really means, and I can be stubborn and go, yeah, but that's what I'm going to do. I believe this because that's what my parents taught me. Well, heaven forbid, but guess what? My parents were wrong on some things in Scripture. I have to change my mind to do those things, right? And the other thing that I think 2 Corinthians 5, 10, and 11 talks about, revenging ourselves. If there's something that I know that I have a problem with, dealing with, pride is normally the big one, the easy one, right? It's pride. Then if I know that pride is a problem I'm dealing with, I'm emptying the trash out of the church all the time, and I'm going to go clean a toilet, right? Because that puts me back in my place.
Like
puts
humbling?
Me back, right? Yeah. It forces me out of the pride, right? Because, who's going to go clean the toilet?
Right.
That's their job. It's my job now.
Yeah, but
I got to get my head right.
And to get to that point, though, like you said, I think that's what you should do. But how often do we do that? Because I'm so prideful that I'm like, I'm not going to do that.
Yeah.
And so someone who is not, say, in God's word or in church, as your person you were speaking of or whatever, can they truly do this? As he's speaking of having, we have two minds. Someone who's not doesn't have that. So are they able to, have a winning mind ultimately if they don't have Christ? I mean,
can they have a humble mind? I know people, you probably do too, that aren't saved, but very humble people.
Yeah.
Right. And will they? I'll do anything for you, but it's a positive trait that they have, that humility, to be that way. Some people are very prideful about their humility.
Right.
I've
exactly.
heard people say, I'm a very humble person. Like, not anymore.
Yeah. If you say that, it's like,
there's a joke about the church that got together. A church got together and was going to give their pastor an award on his humility, and when he accepted it, they took it away.
Like you failed.
Yeah. That was a test.
There's a couple things that I want to ask now. The way that you mentioned it, have you ever watched Liar Liar?
Oh yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
so that when you talk about two minds, I don't know why that's the scene in the court where the pen is blue, and he's trying to write black because he's trying to lie, but he can't lie.
Uh-huh.
I keep thinking that like the two minds battling each other out.
Yeah.
But I want to go towards...
The only problem with that I like the movie. It's funny, but the problem that we run into with that is that in our case we can override it.
We can.
We
Yeah.
can.
Yes, sure.
The new man can. A person that's not saved, that doesn't have the new mind, they can have reformational changes in their life, right? But reformation is not regeneration.
Right.
Right. Yeah.
But I want to learn, and not learn, but understand more in depth about the old mind, because you mentioned it, that the old mind has one pretty much linear thought process still, but they have a conscience that they can still acknowledge towards. Isn't the conscience still considered to be God speaking to them?
God speaks to the conscience.
Right.
Yeah.
But so they technically wouldn't have one thought, right? One mind.
But they don't battle with that. They wouldn't battle with that because a double-minded man is unstable. Okay, God, what do you want me to do? And I'm going to hedge my bets. for what God tells me, right? And that's basically that's kind of the thing that works. He says, I think he says, if any man lack wisdom, let him ask of God, who gives to all men liberally, right? And without there's no God doesn't. What's the word? God blathers it on, right? He gives you all the wisdom that you need. But he says, but God gives you that wisdom. How often is God's wisdom different from what we think?
Right.
That's where the double-mindedness comes.
And I think that's
You
where I'm
need to
trying
do
to
this,
like
be here.
really try to understand and comprehend more because of the two differences. So like, let's say in a scenario, like let's put in an application like a scenario based, so maybe they can also understand if they're having issues differentiating the two. So let's say I put $100 here, I walk out, Cammie wants it really bad. Okay, for a single-minded person, she's battling internally with her conscience saying that she shouldn't steal it, but she wants to. How would that...
Right. So, and you're not. You're still. Yeah. There's a difference between dealing with our conscience and our how we've been raised. If she was raised, if you left it on the table, that's your fault. And her conscience says, you have no problem taking it because it's your fault you left it there.
Left it.
Okay, so then there's no conscious application there.
But if she's been taught, I think she has. Put 100 on there and see what happens. Now,
Let's see.
yeah. But
Not
if
per
she's
contract.
been taught by her parents that stealing is wrong, but she wants it, she'll have a conflict within herself. But she's not debating with God about that. She's debating against her own conscience, what she's been taught.
All right, now put that through the double-minded process.
Well, you could. Well, I want to. She's been taught that it's okay to do, but she's learned through her through reading that thou shalt not steal, and you're not supposed to do that. Now she's fighting from a different standpoint, not against what her parents taught her, but what God is telling her.
And then...
Because there are people that it says, my parents taught me not to steal, but I steal anyway. When a person says, the Bible tells me not to steal, but I steal anyway. And that runs you into...
The severity is different.
Well, who you're disobeying
Right.
is, right? So I heard someone say this earlier. They go, you deal with different types of faith and our belief. For example, you can believe and you don't do it. You can believe and actively rebel against it. Then you can believe and you act on that belief.
Okay, so now I got a better application.
That middle one is actually demonic.
Right, so now that you mentioned that one, now I have a better application for the two-minded one. That would be more along the line of if you go to, like, say, example, the gas station, and you are doing what you normally do every single day, but you see this one individual struggling and everything, and you have two choices. You either can go assist that person, and that could be God saying assist and then plant the seed, or go do what you normally do. Then you're having that battle between you and God.
Well, let me make it harder. You see somebody that has a need, and you can do it or not do it, and so you go, well, I'm going to give them some money, and you go, well, they were altruistic here. They could have ignored them, but they didn't. They did something. But your difference is that third piece that you added. I can still ignore them. I can help them, but I can help them and tell them about Jesus. See, that's the.
That's okay.
Okay, so you see, it's kingdom mindedness in that other mind, right?
Yes.
What's moving? Why? It really gets to the why am I when I'm doing things. Why am I here in the first place? I'm saved. Why didn't God just take me home? Because He wants me to now transform. Right.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so that actually kind of building and piecing all that together, it kind of really explains better how a true battle between your own mindset and everything can be very impactful. Actually, like if you have, like you were saying, if you see that scenario and everything, and you're choosing to just go about your day, you pretty much guarantee that L, and you're game for that one.
Yeah. Well, people, we all come from different backgrounds, right? So, someone that comes from has a positive religious upbringing, they've already been instilled with the thou shalts and thou shalt nots, right? As they move forward, so they're not starting from zero.
Right.
But if you get somebody that is starting from a family of grifters, let's say Hunter Biden, or someone like, where they've been taught how to be, slick, salesmen and ripping people off and doing all that, and they don't know anything else.
Right.
So they're not starting from, I might be starting from 3 to get to 10. They're not starting from 0. They're starting from -3 or -10, right, to get. So we don't always start at the same, no one ever starts at the same place, right? Your product, yeah. But that doesn't mean wherever you start from doesn't mean that God can't change it from
right.
right.
We each all have that starting point.
Yeah.
And based off whether you're already have a good foundation and a good structure to be closer to God versus someone who probably had the worst of the worst.
Right.
And was probably the furthest away amongst them all.
Right.
That has that long road and journey to get to that point of God.
You see it generationally. You go back 30 or 40 years, 50 years, and you'd go to talk to somebody about Jesus. You didn't have to explain who he was. They knew. Even if you're talking about an unsaved person.
Jesus, that they would know. Oh,
yeah. That 50 years ago, I'd go knock on a door and talk to somebody. He says, "Can I tell you about Jesus?" And I said, "Do you know him?" He said, "Yeah. Is he born in a manger and 3 wise men died on a cross?" And so even if they're not religious people or they're not spiritual people, they still know the religion. That's not where we're at today.
Right.
For sure.
So. That's what I mean when I'm saying when you spoke to somebody 50 years ago to try to witness to them, they already had some knowledge about and do you believe the Bible? You never had to ask. You said, I don't think back then when I was asking them, do you believe the Bible to be true? Every time they said yes. There was never a doubt that the Bible wasn't true. Now you do that.
There was a time like that.
See, yes, there was. And now you have to debate whether the scripture's true to get to the...
To even continue.
So you see, that's where you're starting from minus 0, right?
So now I can say this. So Jonah's a great example for this then.
Of a double-minded man?
Yeah, the double-minded man.
Yeah, and you see in God's case, God undouble-minded him.
With one big giant mind.
That's not really true. He convinced Jonah to change his mind.
Right.
We'll have to talk to Jonah when we get there, but I think that Jonah was just going, because he already was willing to commit suicide, right? Throw me overboard. That's basically suicide by sailor, right? Throw you over in the storm comes, fish comes, he's thinking, I'm going to die.
Yeah, he wasn't going to be able to get rid of himself that easy, though.
Day 2, he still isn't gone.
Yeah.
Day 3, he goes,
he's like, oh,
this ain't going to change until I change.
He was probably tired of sushi.
But when you get to the end of Jonah in Jonah chapter 4, you read he goes and witnesses these people. People get saved, and at the end of that, he's sitting there pouting.
He's still
about
upset about
right?
it.
And it wasn't about fear. It was about he didn't like them.
Right.
He was a nationalist, and he did not like what they would do. He didn't like.
Which goes back to the product of the upbringing.
Yeah.
He had a whole different mindset and everything.
And it's funny too, because by the time you get even in Jonah's time, but after Jonah was a well-respected prophet.
Right.
But we don't know. We read one other place about him in the Old Testament, and then Jesus mentions him, and you don't hear anything. But he was a big shot.
Big deal.
So
he was a big deal.
I have notes here that I have different types of battles within your mind, and I kind of wanted to dissect each one of them. So I had fear, faith, the voice of your past, the voice of God, the voice of shame, and the voice of identity. I feel like with Jonah, that's kind of it would be more of the identity, wouldn't it? Because of who he is and what he believed in and why he felt like he shouldn't be going over there.
It would be, probably, depending on how you define the identity. Yeah, he did not like them, and he didn't want to see them saved.
He just didn't like them.
You can't. how do you hate somebody so much that you don't want God to bless them?
Right. But one of the points I wanted to understand a little bit more was the voice of shame.
Yep.
And how does one get down that road to begin with?
That they're shameful, you're
Yeah.
saying?
Mm-hmm.
Disclaimer: this isn't the place to get all your.
Right. Yeah, we're not.
We're not
We're just thinking this
counselors.
stuff
What were
outside.
you thinking? We're not that guy. Whatever his name is.
Dr. Phil?
Dr.
Yeah.
Phil. You know, Oprah's got to hate him now. And
We're not
him
hating
and
him.
Oz, Dr. Oz. I was thinking about that watching Oz. I go,
He's a quack.
Oprah Winfrey. Oh, he's smart. Dr. Oz, yeah. And that Oprah brought him on. And now she's got to be going, what was I thinking?
What were you
She's
saying?
saying that. Huh? They're all friends.
Okay. Yeah, it's your. Go ahead.
sorry, what was
The,
your
the,
question?
the voice of shame.
The voice of shame. It's interesting because number one, the fact that we can that we experience, people will experience shames because they, in some cases, not all, they know they've done something wrong. Right. Now there are some cases where they feel shame because they've been acted upon. Right. Someone's done something to them, and they feel shame.
Is that the one where the people most likely think of, like, I'm never enough, or
It could be physical or
Maybe some kind of traumatic.
God
something
doesn't care
happened to
about
them.
me?
Yeah, well, they do that by virtue of when they see these bad things happening to them
Continuously.
You know, young kids growing up, and you know they've had verbal abuse, they've had physical abuse, sexual abuse, and they've been told. Actually, Elizabeth Smart, remember her? She got kidnapped a long time ago. She actually there was an article in her, and she was talking about how she had been kidnapped by this couple. And they were telling her about, once they abused her, they go, nobody's going to want you anymore. You've been used up. You're bad. And she came out of that believing it. And she's since got that out of her head somewhat. But people can do that to us. And that's where I think the power of the Word of God comes in with the. You got to be connected in with the body of Christ as well, and the right teachings that you realize over time, because you can't fix something in a day that's been, God can, that's been, bleeding for years and years, right, decades, but people come in and they'll hear it, and all they realize is that why nobody else. They think everybody else rejected them. By the way, in some of that, they can create self-fulfilling prophecies. Well, once you find out what I'm like, you're not going to care for me anymore. I had a friend that did that. Once you find out what kind of person I am, you're not going to like me anymore. And then as soon as, I found out what kind of person he was, and he goes, see, you don't like me anymore. It's just, what do you mean by that? I mean, completely freaked him out because he was used to every time someone found out about some private part of his life that they all just rejected him, and I wouldn't do that.
Right.
And, but that's what he expected. But that's where the body of Christ comes into play, where you can see people that are broken. It's all we all are anyway.
Right.
Right. And we come in together, and when we realize, guess what? God can use broken people. Mm-hmm. Look in Scripture, Old Testament, New Testament, broken people.
Oh yeah.
Right.
And that's why I felt like this topic was really good, because we're at one point, or continuously, or still currently, we all probably have just dealt with something similar to those notes right there. I mean, fear, faith, especially to me, I feel like the voice of faith is a big one, because it's where you, especially as a new believer, you're questioning everything about the Bible. Why is it like this? Or you have people who's like, well, why does the Bible always kill innocent people or punish people? And
and there's answers to that.
Oh, absolutely. But I think that's why there's so many of these variables that makes a person start going down the rabbit hole. And then they're starting to have all these different types of thought process, or over analyzing things, or thinking that they're smarter than God and that they can understand God's mindset, which is probably the most redundant thing.
That's why we're told to put every thought into captivity, the 2
Right.
Corinthians 5:10, and to revenge the thoughts. I think it's in verse 11 or 12. Revenge those thoughts, to say, Sometimes you have to fight that old man and go, this is what I know about God, and what you're telling me is not true. It's all happening in here.
Right.
That is not true. It is not true. It is not true. And then I think it is over time, Scripture, and growing, and the fact that Christ can change you. When you're saved, He can change you. That because the great news is people that have been broken, just like people that are broken, have been able to be healed by Christ.
Right.
So the healing is there, but doing it His way is like, well, that's not what Dr. Phil says, or that's not what Miss Laura says, or that's not what, I don't know what her name, Dr. Laura, or this is not what that person. Don't care what they say. What does the Bible tell you?
Right.
Because He tells us, my ways are not your ways, neither are my thoughts your thoughts. You do it this way. Right. Well, that just doesn't make any sense. Well, because we have fish brains, it doesn't make sense.
Right.
Yeah, very true. And so then I want to now ask about the voice of identity. Is the voice of identity more along the someone who is too embarrassed to announce that they're a Christian, like they don't know how to identify their faith, like behind doors?
Or could be somebody that just, well, kind of like you said, I guess, kind of, because then you said, like, who am I? How many times do you hear that and all this social stuff? Like, why am I here and who am I? We identify.
And where am I going? Those are
and
the
where-
three questions.
Always the
everybody
3
asks.
questions.
Right, and it's like,
And then when you're mad, why God?
oh, yeah, there you go. But they never ask God to begin with those questions.
Right.
Like, where am I going? What am I doing? Who am I? What is my identity?
Yeah.
Well, I think for those people that are feeling the voice of shame a lot, yes, bad things happen. We've spoken to that before. I mean, it's unfortunate. Things do happen. But, like you said, sometimes we're told over and over, and sometimes we believe those things that are told to us. And even though we maybe knew it was wrong, we knew it was wrong in the beginning, when they start telling us, at the end of all that, after telling us for so long, we start to believe it. Those are voices from Satan that come if we don't have anyone, God, to help fight those thoughts. I mean, it's hard.
Right.
I mean, and it's hard for someone who has Christ. If you were to come at me constantly with all negativity and stuff, after a while, I'm like, dang, you feel beat down.
Right.
Someone who feels
Especially
that
people
shame.
that you trust.
Yes,
Yeah.
right. Your parents, your family member, your friends. Like, these
The
are my
constant
friends telling me
belittling
these
or-
things.
Yep.
I mean, to hear that over and over, the shame you must feel, like, well, maybe I am those things. Maybe I am that person. But as you said, if we're not grounded in Christ and grounded in who God says we are, what is my identity in what Christ says? Who does Christ say I am? He says, I'm fearfully, wonderfully made.
Right.
But for someone who doesn't, who's not in His Word, they're not going to know that, And it's sad because they get stuck there and they stay in that shameful place and that hurt. I mean, questioning their faith, maybe because I know a God, a little God. Isn't that what you said? Something about
The little man in the sky.
The little man in the sky. Like, that's not quite who He is. That's not who He is.
That's not what I
but-
would call Him.
That's not right. That's not who, because they don't understand who God is. And actually, there's a lot of people who say, I know who God is, and this is God. But their God is such a little God. They make Him out to be so little. I'm like, why would you do that? I mean, I don't want to have a God that's that little, that couldn't take care of the things that I need to. It's like, or the little guy in the sky. It makes no sense. But I don't even know what my point was, but to say that there are a lot of people that suffer with the shame and the identity and all these things. And if you don't have Christ and if you don't have God's Word to tell you, then, and if the only people that you have around you telling you all these bad things, that's tough.
Oh, yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
how do you get out of that?
Well, if some people, you go, well, who are you? And you go, well, I'm an executive. This and that. That's what you do.
Yeah.
That's not who you are. Who are
Yeah.
you? And if you think about it, when you get to the answer, the right answer is, I'm a child of God. But you only come to that answer when you come to Christ, right? And so there's kind of two places where a person's at. Well, who am I? If I'm not saved, what I'm a creation. I am God's creation, right? And I'm made, saved or unsaved, we're made in the image of God.
Right.
When I get saved, I become a child of God. And that's really the only two identities. It's a shame when people wrap their identities up in their job,
That's what I was going to say.
in
It's
their
so
family.
Sad. Very sad. Yeah.
What happened? Yeah, because what happens when your job goes away? Your identity's gone.
Mm-hmm.
What happens when family members go away? Your identity's gone.
Mm-hmm.
People wrap up their identity in their sexuality. What happens? Eventually, you get old, and what happens when all that goes away? Right?
Mm-hmm.
And you go, well, if you take those types of things away from people, they have nothing.
Mm-hmm.
And then the world, that's why there's so many different variations of all these different things we talked about, is because everybody wants to be uniquely just like everyone else, right? I want to have a different, another letter of the alphabet
I want to be different
for
like
them
them.
and this and not, so I'm more different, yeah, you're this letter, but my hair's pink, right? Or
So then now
things
would
like
you
that.
say that Job actually applies very well to that because it's taking away his identity to show that he is a child of God at the end of it? Or through it actually because he always was.
It's not an identity crisis with Jonah. It's an obedience
Job.
crisis. Oh, Job. I'm sorry.
Oh, I thought you said Jonah too.
Yeah, I know.
Job.
Yeah, Job. Job never loses his.
He
his
never
faith.
lost his faith or anything, but I
He
feel
says,
like with that
you know-
story is defining that he is the child of God.
Yeah, he demonstrates
Like
that
he's-
through whatever turmoil you're
Right,
going
like
through.
you were just explaining, like
you never
remove
change.
this, remove this. He's still constant no matter
Yep.
what.
Yep.
So by
And-
removing those identities, he still
Those four things, right?
He still displays that I am still
Yep.
the child of God.
The Lord giveth and the Lord taketh away. Blessed be the name of the Lord. But as he goes through there's a little bit of arrogance that gets into his speeches as he's, chasing dialogue with his buddies.
After he was
that are-
covered in sores.
And then, it's pretty bad when your friends come in. They stare at you for 7 days and don't say nothing. That kind of makes you think, maybe an
There's
inferiority
something in my
complex.
teeth.
But like, yeah, if I say
That's funny because that's Sunday morning's message. But
something in my teeth.
yeah, but he never loses confidence in God. No, he says, I turn to the left, I turn to the right, I don't see him, but he knows the way that I take. He knows where I'm at. He knows what I'm doing, and he goes through all that. But if you get the sin, it takes a little bit to read through it. In Job 38, 39, 40, and 41, if I think it goes that far. Four chapters. God basically goes, shut up, stand up, and let's have a talk. He says, now it's my turn. And he goes through all this
Humbled.
stuff, very much so. By the time you get to chapter 42, Job goes, I should have shut up a long time ago.
I played a
I'm
stupid
parrying
game
that.
and I won a stupid prize.
Yeah, and but he had an expectation that God, to some degree, owed him an explanation, and God goes, "You tell me. I do all these things. I don't ask for your permission."
Mm-hmm.
And that kind of gets to where you were talking about with when people get in trouble. Why'd God do this to me?
Mm-hmm.
Wait a second. Whenever did God ever ask for your opinion on anything? He knows what he's doing.
Right.
Our job is just to be obedient. And we can't know that obedience without knowing his word and then practicing the word, right?
So now let's shift towards Judges and talk about Samson.
Okay. He had an identity.
That's what I was going to go with.
Yeah.
He had the identity.
Yeah.
Mr. Olympia, Fabio Hair.
That's what I see. But at the same time, there was an old game. I never played it, but it was always a joke. Larry the Lounge Lizard. You ever heard of that?
Never heard of
Some
that.
of you guys, older ones on there, and it was a guy that went out and tried to pick up. It's a game and it was all the,
Little stick figures.
yeah, almost, and Larry, Leisure Suit Larry was his name.
Leisure
And
Suit Larry.
Larry
We'll
the
have to look
Lounge
this
Lizard.
up.
And he would go to bars and try to pick up chicks, right? That's Samson. Yeah, it ain't worth anything, but it's just it was an old joke back when they first came out that you had. I think it was the donkey. How Donkey Kong was like.
Yes.
That's how this was. So, if you're thinking it's anything exotic like that, it wasn't. It was just the stupidest
A
thing.
big game.
But that's Samson. That's Samson.
So in Samson's scenario, he lost his identity and everything because he tempted with all that.
Yeah, but it was about what was he supposed to be, and he never was that thing.
Right.
See, that's us. That's us. Right.
But I mean, at the very end, when God gives him back his strength and he collapses the building, did he technically still become what God wanted him to be?
No.
He still wasn't at that point?
Nope.
Really?
Nope. He was, and this, people listening might go, I disagree. I think, nope. When he got to the end, he prayed and asked God for his strength back.
For one last time.
For what reason? God, that I may demonstrate your power and glory over these Philistines.
Mm-hmm.
Give me this. That's not what he said. He said, give me the power so that I can avenge them for my eyes.
Oh, yeah.
That's how he died. Mm-hmm. He died a parlor
Still
trick.
Ask him.
It was
or
all his
something
stuff.
For himself.
Yeah, it was everything he did was what he did were strong men parlor tricks. It's like watching what's the name of that? The Christian strongman guys. Remember them?
That would tear a
phone book, and they
book?
would bend metal.
I don't know their name.
I don't remember. Power team. That's what they were. And and so he tied foxes' tails to the firebrands and sent them through there and picked up the gates, and he slew 1,000 of the Philistines with a jawbone of an ass. He did all these things, parlor tricks. He was supposed to be a judge over Israel. He should have been leading an army to get them out of bondage, and he didn't do it.
I know this is kind of going off topic and everything, but would Samson be defined as the worst judge?
Yeah, probably. Yeah, most purposefully out of touch. What did he? In Samson's good in looking at somebody to go, what could you have done with the strength that you had,
right,
if you didn't play games with it, right? So that's why I say, now there's two sides of this. One is where you have Samson that is that goes and never doesn't. So he went with the jawbone of an ass and he slew 1,000 Philistines. What could he have done if he had an army? And asked God to give them the strength that He's given. What? It's always a
the
woulda, coulda, shoulda, the what if stuff. But here's the thing that he did that he didn't know he was doing. I don't think he didn't know he was doing this, but we know he's doing this. He irritated the Philistines that made them continually push to the Israelites. Israelites, when you get to Samson, they're never asking to get out of their slavery. They never asked for it. Before that, they were crying to the Lord, and Lord said, not now. They didn't. They weren't asking to get out of it, of their slavery. So what did God do? God, if Samson won't, and he probably maybe have had a hard time getting an army together. If Samson won't do the things he could do with this strength, then I'll use his strength to keep the Philistines and the Israelites at odds with each other. He kept the animosity there. He kept the friction was always there between the Philistines and the Israelites.
So instead of letting them be lackadaisical
yeah, but if they get mad at him, he keeps poking at them, and they go after the Israelites. And then he pokes them some more, and they go after the Israelites. And so the Israelites have to do something to defend themselves to whatever degree that they could. So there's always this friction between the two of them. If they won't want to get out of bondage, and this goes back to what we're thinking here with our this double-mindedness. If you don't want to be in this better place with God, then God can create the friction. And that kind of goes to, why is God doing this to me? Well, if you're not where you're supposed to be, God will create the friction to give you the desire to want to get out of the friction. Right? That goes back to your Jonah. Back to Jonah.
sometimes you're just
A little
too
friction,
stubborn.
too much salt in the water was getting him all frictiony, and he goes, "I want to get out." Right?
Right, decide to, or you just stay there. How long are you going to stay there?
Yeah.
You know?
Right,
'Cause
like
he'll-
when
How
you're
long
getting
do-
on a
how
burner.
long
Yep.
are you going to be uncomfortable, and then be like, and
Right.
that's a lot of that too is,
Yeah.
is being prideful. They're like, well, I'm not going to change. I'm not going to do it because he told me to. You know,
Yeah, from
Don't tell me.
Samson,
Yeah,
you go
no
to,
full bingo Wednesdays.
from Samson, you go to Eli, and then it goes into 1 Samuel. But you're still talking Judges, and you get to Samson. It's not till you get to Saul and David that picks back up
Changes.
with the Philistines.
Mm-hmm.
So he all he did was just keep the animosity. God did not want them coexisting with those Philistines. And so what do? If I can't get you to get rid of them, I'll get them to keep poking you, and you got to do something.
Keep poking the bear.
Mhm.
Yeah. And that's, you for us today, you keep telling God, no, I'm not going to do this. It's that double-mindedness. And you go, you know what? I'm not bringing this thought or this sin into captivity. I'm not doing anything with it. God goes, okay. And, start poking, and
Be like, okay, we'll see how long
Yeah.
you'll be there.
And that's why I like doing these things every Friday night, because I love how everything can still be plugged into every chapter in every book. Because I mean, what I originally thought was going to be kind of like parallel and not off topic and stuff ends up still being able to be tied around.
Mhm.
And I think that's why the Bible is such an important tool for everybody to use,
Mhm.
because they learn so much from it, but they gain God's wisdom and learning how to take on these type of battles. Because that's when people start thinking that they're alone in these fights and stuff like that, but they're never alone if
Never
they
alone.
have God.
Right.
And I think that's what gets me.
Yeah.
Like, why is that mindset always the first thing is I'm alone in this battle?
Yeah. We have to do a Joshua thing when we have personal battles, we have battles in the mind, personal battles, we have battles outside, and we go, God, how do I do this? We got to have a Joshua mindset that we go, do I talk to this person or do this or do that? And God goes, he gives you a march around the walls.
Mm-hmm.
That doesn't
Just-
make,
just do it.
that kind of thing where you go,
What? Why?
love them. I told the story about a boss that I had one time that I was praying, and you remember, and
Praying for
then
promotion.
I was praying for, and I prayed when I prayed.
That's not what he was praying
No,
for.
no.
I
First.
wasn't praying for promotion
You was
first.
not
I was
praying for
praying
that.
for a peaceful demarcation. How's that?
Looney Tunes style,
Sometimes it
please.
wasn't peaceful, but God goes, "What are you doing?" And he goes, "You pray that he gets promoted." And in 2 weeks, now that stuff was already underway, but I didn't know that.
Mm-hmm.
2 weeks, and 2 weeks later, my prayer got answered. What happened? God changed me. You changed the way you pray. Which when I changed the way I prayed for him, I changed the way I thought about him. I was concerned about making sure he looked really good, right? Because I wanted him to
That's
look
a big goal.
really good so that they would go, "We want you."
Mm-hmm.
It's like, you don't really, but go ahead.
Take 'em.
Yeah. So that's how things, God speaks to us, and we change. It didn't make sense. That's not what I wanted.
Right, it's like when a
But it had
team
to
has
get
that one
past.
all-star wide receiver for like 2 games, and then they put him on the trading blocks because they know exactly what he's capable of, and then the other teams fall for it and try to get him, and they do, and then 2 weeks later after that, he's like the worst number 4 ever.
Worst number 4 ever. I wonder. Yeah.
But
Very good. So this is all the stuff we've talked around, and I think you were summarizing it there. Is that in the believer's mind, for the believer, there is 2 minds, and the more that we are willing to submit the old mind to Christ's mind in us, the less of this conflicts we'll have. Now we're going to have a little bit of heartache for leaving some of that stuff behind, and we're going to get maybe a little indigestion, going, "Oh, is this going to work?" But we do it God's way.
Mm-hmm.
We just do it God's way.
in my opinion, the way I imagine people when they're saying why God and have all these type of battles, you watch Speed, right?
Yeah.
with Keanu Reeves.
The bus? Yeah, yeah.
Okay, so I think that's
Sandra
exactly
Bullock.
what their mind thought is. Is like everything has to be done within that 40 seconds, or the bus is going to blow up if it goes too fast or too slow.
Oh.
So like they don't take that pause, like take a step back, pray, or or see the whole picture. They just want to go like full speed at.
Yeah. We spend the next, we spend 3, 5, 10 years getting ourselves into debt, getting ourselves into trouble, web of lies, and then we want to pray at the last minute and say, God, get me out of this. And you think, it took me 10 years to wind this up. We wanted God to do it before the next morning, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And then ask how come he didn't.
And then ask how
And
come
that's
he
why he
didn't.
doesn't
When
have
he
the
does
Amazon 2-day service.
Yeah. Well,
Only if everything
If you
was
got
like that.
Prime, you get it the next day.
Right. I think that's
Sometimes it's same day.
well, I think that's a lot to do with our problems that we expect everything to be done so fast.
We want everything to be done fast, and God doesn't work that way. Because
For sure.
if He went fast in doing this, we wouldn't learn anything.
No, we would just expect it to be taken care of the next time.
Yeah, it's like the rich kid that wants, maybe like Mom Donnie or somebody that wants, the parents to step in for him. They get in trouble. Remember the guy here? Remember a long time ago he killed somebody in a wreck or something?
The young
Oh,
They called him
yeah.
something, but they had a nickname for him. But his parents getting him out of the,
kid.
it's
Because
like
they had money.
Oh, you mean
Yeah.
also like when the mom broke him out of the jail and they were traveling down the
Yeah. That's,
yeah.
that's
I think
him.
that might be the one.
That's him.
And it's like God doesn't do that. God wants us to learn, right? And if
So
we
you
learn hard enough, the children of Israel went into bondage because, the children of Israel went into bondage in part because of their idol worship. The one thing they still were bad coming out of their bondage, out of their exiles. But the one thing they didn't do, they didn't worship idols
They
anymore.
didn't do that.
They didn't do that.
They didn't do that.
They still did other things, but they didn't do that anymore.
Exactly.
No, exactly. No, I think that's all great. You have any remarks? I know I kept you actually.
kept her out of the conversation.
We haven't let her
I've-
speak.
I only have 30 more minutes
been
with
giving
her
her the
for
dirty
the
looks
month
over
for the
there.
contract, so I had to restrict her minutes.
Oh.
We're on a time schedule. No, not really. I mean, I can't really think of anything.
She's like, I concur.
You have to ask if you.
Do you concur with all of this?
I'm curious. Is there anybody from Kansas on the line?
We'll find out in 20 seconds.
We'll find out in 20 seconds.
We're on a delay.
Yeah, we're on a delay.
Offline.
Oh,
Yeah, we'll find out.
No,
after
this
it.
this has been great. This is a good topic, and I'm glad we were able to kind of dive deep into it and kind of not give you the answers you probably wanted, but it's definitely some answers that you needed.
Something to think about.
It's definitely something to think about, and I think that's what I like more is the fact that for me personally, I like to be challenged with those type of mindsets to learn and adapt and study more about that stuff. I don't like everything being like freebies and stuff like that.
I got a off-topic question. Have they started the soccer tournament yet?
It doesn't start till the World Cup doesn't start till June.
Oh wow! So they're still trying to get all the
They're trying to still finish
venues
up all
cleaned
the
up.
venues cleaned up, and they're still doing. You have your club leagues still that are still going through their tournament process. They probably won't be done till May. Soccer, so you have baseball, which is almost year round, right? You have like a small break in the summer, and then after October, you're done. Football's all in the winter. Hockey and basketball are through the winter into the spring. Soccer is literally a year-round sport. You're playing almost.
What's the big one though? The World Cup.
The World Cup's every 4 years. Then you have the Club World Cup, which is every 2 years. Then you have EPL Championship, which is every year. Then you have the Champions League, which is all these other leagues that are merging their best players into this tournament.
So that's
And
like
then-
the divisional stuff.
Yes.
Okay.
And then you have Serie A's tournament, Copa de la Rey for La Liga.
Copacabana.
And, I mean,
Yeah. Oh, I believe you because I have no idea what you're talking about.
Margaritaville.
yeah, you got League MX.
Yeah.
That and there's soccer is one of those that's literally.
I didn't
all,
know that.
all around. Huh.
So that's why it scares a lot of people during the World Cup year because the extent of just how much these players are playing
Right.
can put a serious toll on them when it matters the most because they're signing a
'Cause
contract.
this is
with
the
They're
those.
big
tired.
one. Yeah.
so they're more liable for injuries, which Colombia already experienced now too, which I'm hoping they'll be nice and healthy by the World Cup, because one of them we kind of really need. But
There's
Okay.
your preview.
But that's something I've been working on. I've been trying to do like these little mini episodes. I'm still trying to work out the scripting for it, where I'm breaking down each of these divisions for the World Cup to speak more in depth about it and my predictions, who I think is going to win, without being biased about my own country. I'm trying to legit think who will win it based off of stats and stuff. So it's been fun. So,
All right.
but other than that,
Tomorrow we get to watch the two playoff games, and then Sunday we got we had one playoff. No, we got two playoff games, and then two playoff games on.
for football,
Uh-huh.
yeah, tomorrow
And then
is.
that
Who's
picks.
playing tomorrow? Is
Is it San Francisco?
Sure.
it
Yeah, I'm not sure. I can't remember which
then-
ones they are.
Broncos and Bills?
Broncos and
Who is
Bills.
it?
That's
Okay.
gonna be a good
That'd
game.
be a good game.
That one I don't know who I want to go for.
Yep.
I like Bo Nix,
Mhm.
but Josh Allen is a beast.
He's what Patrick Mahomes used to be. Did you see him pitch?
Oh, but Josh Allen was always that way. Though.
I know he always was,
He was
but he
just
got
he got
overshadowed
shadowed.
by
Old Patty.
Patrick Mahomes, and man, it's just something else.
See, the difference between Patty Mahomes and Josh Allen is that Josh Allen has probably about 100 pounds of muscle on him. He is
Yeah,
not
well,
a small kid.
Well, 2 years ago they were teasing about Patrick Mahomes and his dad bod.
Yes, I remember that.
Oh, I was like,
I
hey,
remember.
wait a second. What about Grandpa bod?
No, I'm
Oh.
excited for this weekend.
Huh.
But
Yep.
did
Then,
you see they fired John Harbaugh?
yeah. Did you see that he's getting picked up?
Did you see by who?
New York
I was shocked.
Giants.
I didn't think they had
Well,
a
if
brain
they
cell.
do that. But, boy, that'd be a lot of work. That'd be a lot of work. So,
Yeah.
hey, those of you that are
Always
on that
paycheck.
are Tabernacle Baptist Church folks, don't forget tomorrow is our Feed the Multitudes, and it's also our Door Hanger Day. So come and plug in.
For sure.
Let what is it? Casting down all imaginations, and I ain't going. You need to come. Hanging door hanger.
Well,
We're gonna go where the zebra are at tomorrow.
zebras.
Really?
We got zebras out here.
Well, we have plenty of dogs. Any day we come out, we see dogs. So. We'll see zebras tomorrow.
Oh,
Cool.
This was a
Okay.
good wind down point and everything. I think everybody who's actually still on here is listening to this rant. So here at the studio, 4 are in, 1 is out. We'll catch y'all later.